Hey, welcome everybody. This is the live stream from our Lux Futurum promotional event. We are in many parts of the world. I'm in Australia. Other people are in Europe, London. Amardeep is in India. Linus is in India. And Rogier, you're in Amsterdam, I suppose, or somewhere around there?
I'm in France.
In France. Ah, very good. Katja can't join us today, so she had some connection issues, so she sent through a video that we will play later. So the idea for this is that we are going to give you a bit an insight in what Lux Futurum is, how it came about, and what we aim to achieve with Lux Futurum. After that, two of our esteemed judges, Linus and Gary, will give a short insight on their thoughts about what the future can bring us. And after that, we'll shoot a couple of questions to Rogier about what his thoughts are about the future. And then after that, we will have some Q&A. It's currently being live streamed if everything goes well, and then people could be able to follow it on, I think, LinkedIn and other channels. So without further ado, let's start. Amardeep, if you can bring up the first slide. I'm going to give you a little introduction about how we came to do Lux Futurum. We started the virtual lighting design community during the pandemic in 2020, 21, around there. After the demise of the Professional Lighting Designers Association and their convention, and then COVID came, and then we had this emptiness of how to connect with each other, and that's how Amardeep and myself came to this idea of creating a virtual community. That community has meanwhile grown to more than 800 members worldwide, and we hope this year to achieve 1,000 members globally, which we really look forward to achieve. It will be in our 5-6 years times of existence be quite a milestone. But while doing that, we obviously came into contact with the community and events. We started when the pandemic was over to do events live in Light Middle East and Guangzhou Light Fair and IES and other events. And that also brought us into contact with China. I've been traveling to China many years, since 1995, in fact. And I had been a frequent judge in some of the lighting design awards in China. And with VLDC, the organizers of the Zhurong Award, Amardeep, can you show the slides, or is that you can't?
I'm talking. Yes, I know. I'm having some issues here in terms of sharing.
Okay.
It wouldn't allow me to share. Just a minute. I'm so sorry. When I say entire screen, it says open system settings. I have the settings ready, but it's not.
Oh, yeah, I'll just keep talking. So the Zhurong Awards were a typical lighting design awards, as you have many around the world.
Ingmar, is it possible for you to share?
Yes, let me have a look.
Well, while you guys figured out, I keep talking, yeah? So they had this award, and that was going on for about 15 years already. And they felt that with the community getting more global, people getting more in touch, and also the fact that 90% of the lighting manufacturing takes place in China, there's an interesting link between the global lighting community and China itself. And the organizers of the local Chinese Zhurong Awards wanted to look if it was possible to globalize their event. And so we decided not to globalize their event, but just to create a totally new event. And that event then became Lux Futurum. Lux Futurum was also the result of some study, because we thought, let's not do again a lighting design awards. Let try and do something that is future oriented and will help the community also look forward. And that's how Lux Futurum sort of gave birth. Not really a lighting design award, but a recognition of efforts of people in the industry, creating new innovations and new concepts and ideas. We felt that that was something that would help us. Yeah, there we go. So I've meanwhile moved to nearly my last slide already. If you move to the next one. So that's, I talked about the essence and all that. So we have now grown, we are now in our third year. Our first year was also an interesting one because we thought as Western educated people that we had quite some innovative ideas, but we didn't realize how advanced China already was in terms of innovations. And some of the ideas that came through and were submitted during the first year, in China, they said, oh, we have done this already 3 years ago. It's not really innovative. So it was really important to engage with the Chinese innovation community. And so now we have judges from 9 continents, from all the continents, different backgrounds, different experiences, to really have a very wide spread of knowledge and expertise. But also we have a Chinese team with Chinese lighting designers that also help us to stay grounded in what's knowledgeable, what's known already in China. So yeah, that's really how it came about. The 2023 was the first one, and no, 2024 we started the first one. Quite a lot of entries, more than 100 entries we got, and we selected that down. Armady will tell a bit more about that process. Last year it was even more, and this year we're going into year 3. And I think maybe Armady, you should explain how it all works. But the idea is with this process is that the winners are invited. We have a short list of winners. They're invited to present their project. So it's not just come on stage and get an award. The idea is also that you come and explain your project or your winning entry so that people can learn. Because VLDC, it's about knowledge sharing, it's about learning. So we wanted specifically that this awards program also had things to give where people could learn and take away something. So talking about takeaway, Armady, take it away and explain a bit about concepts, products, and projects.
Thanks, Martin, and apologies for this little technical glitch. So when we talk about an awards program, when we sat down to try and analyze all the awards programs that are there in lighting, we found literally 30 plus awards. So the first thing we came down to was this will be a global recognition, not an award per se. And the idea was to open this to not just lighting designers, but to the entire lighting community and all the other connected community to the lighting, be it architects, be it interior designers. And the 3 pillars that we have within the categories of this global recognition was concepts, products, and projects. Now, concepts are next slide, Ingmar. Concepts are any revolutionary ideas that are still not yet being realized, if I'm to put it in a very simple manner. So there could be a student who could have a revolutionary concept as part of an semester exercise. There could be an interior designer who might have thought of something really, really futuristic, not realized at this stage, but something which is really thought-provoking in terms of lighting. So all of those come under the concept category. Now, if you see this small example of the brown bulb, that is a filament LED lamp. And this was a conceptual lamp that was put together by a product designer. and it is apparently known to have a lifespan of literally 30 years. Now that is a revolutionary concept, imagining a lamp which has 30 years of lifespan. So that comes under the concept. Then the next category is under projects. Can we have the next slide, Ingmar? Sorry, products. So products are anything which is realized, something which is related to lighting comes under the revolutionary product. You can see this simple example of this pocket light here. Looks like a card which can be fit inside your wallet, but if you flip it, it switches on into a lamp. It could be something as simple as that, and as user-friendly as this concept. And this is a VR imaging which connects with digital twinning. So this is the glass used for digital twinning. So that is also comes as a larger extension of lighting. So that comes under the products category. So these are just ideas that we're giving to anybody who's interested in applying as to what is this whole recognition program about. And the final category is realized projects. So as the name suggests, any project that is being realized and it has a revolutionary idea, where this is an example of a library in China which has got some interesting concept of lighting up the entire space, where books become a part of the architecture, the lighting becomes a part of the overall architecture, and users just skim around looking for books, was something which was revolutionary and thought would be good to have as a futuristic project as an entry. So these are the basic criteria for or the categories of entries. Next slide. And we'll draw some inspiration from our past winners. One of these winners was a conceptual student entry called Murphy. And this was something which really changed the whole traditional thinking about interacting with light. So Murphy was a revolutionary design object, where it's a light fixture that follows you. It defies the laws of gravity. Conceptually, what was presented by the students seems to be doable, because it has a plasma screen and it floats in the air and it is programmed to you. So initially when you buy it, you program it to you, and wherever you go, it follows you. And if a place is dark, and it provides light. And this whole thought process came from the country of Lebanon, because the university was from Lebanon, and they have a major power crisis where light comes at a price. And this was something which really made the students think, and it was a revolutionary design which the judges really appreciated, and this was one of the clear-cut winners from the 2025 entries. The next project that we look at is organic fireworks. This was a project designed by Studio Rosengard, Dan Rosengard, and this was an entry which was imagining sustainable ecological lens, where fireworks are natural. It's like bubbles which glow, and it gives the effect of fireworks, but they're completely environment friendly. And this was something which the judges really liked and appreciated, and this was recognized as one of the winners. The next entry is a software program called Obscura. And this was a great software which was probably the first digital twin that was dedicated to lighting design. And you could actually create a physical model, and you can create a digital twin using this Obscura software to simulate lighting effects. And it changes in real time. So you make a change, it can change in real time. And this was also something which the judges like, and this was the 2024 winners. The next project, or the next entry, I beg your pardon, was a product. And this was a bioluminescent inspired design, which was used for detecting brain tumors. And it was a very simple design because surgeons use a lot of different complicated devices during brain surgery. And this uses just a very simple lens, and the frequency of light allows you to detect malignant tumors. And this was also a product which was liked by the judges and in one of the 2024 entries. Next slide. So the real gold dust of Lux Futurum is our international forum of judges. Each year, we make sure that we have a very wide spectrum of judges coming in from different backgrounds, from architecture, lighting design, research, different countries, different continents. And these are 3 years of the wide gamut of judges that we have, which makes this award or this recognition program truly worthwhile to enter. Next slide. And our submission process is very simple, as you will see in the next video, and it's a very accessible yet a very rigorous process, because we want entrants to demonstrate how their work aligns with this whole core criteria of future innovation. And everybody can apply, be it designers, educators, inventors, manufacturers, researchers, students, and there is no entry fee. So that's one of the first entry point where anybody can apply. And you can see in the next slide, there's a simple video which will take you through how you can click on and so go on to the submit page. You'll come up with all the categories, the judging and the evaluation criteria. All the entry requirements are mentioned. There's also a preparation checklist. And then you click onto the submission form. And as you keep submitting, filling out, you click and go to the next part. And at some point of time, if you think you want to come back and submit it, you can always do that too. So this form allows you to do that. Next slide. Now, the Lux Futurum social media page is extremely active. You can click on the video, Ingmar. So you can see every little detail, every little event, every little associated event that we conduct as part of Lux Futurum is there. And we encourage all of you to follow this page for any updates, add your comments, your likes. It's always good to be connected socially. It's a community for the future. Next slide. And this year, the forum is being held in Shenzhen. Ingmar will play a video now.
Light is more than illumination. It is the silent language of architecture, the pulse of our cities, and the canvas of our future. Welcome to Lux Futurum. Lux Futurum is a global recognition program. We actively seek out and honor ingenuity, originality, and forward-thinking contributions that push the boundaries of design, technology, and sustainability. Since our inception, LUFU has been a bridge where East meets West. Our journey began with an unforgettable inaugural year in Guangzhou, before evolving into a spectacular second edition in Shanghai in 2025. Year after year, Lux Futurum has grown. The caliber of submissions has skyrocketed, showcasing a heightened level of innovation, visionary thinking, and global impact. Now, for our third edition, we bring the future of light to China's epicenter of innovation, Shenzhen. We invite submissions across our core categories: future-oriented concepts, innovative products, and groundbreaking projects. Join us on October 23rd, 2026 for exclusive insights from our esteemed keynote speakers, Rogier van der Heide and Bing Zhu. Your work will be evaluated by a world-class global jury panel. Dr. Emra Baki-Ulas of Steens Environment, Eugenia Cheng of Light Origin Studio, Gary Thornton of Nolte Lighting, Linus Lopez of Virio Lopez Lighting Design Consultants, Monica Luz Lobo of LD Studio, Nadine Balberki of Light the Detail, and Tatsuma Yamaguchi of Lighting Images. Global visibility, exclusive networking, a prestigious platform that honors the true impact of lighting design. Do you have a revolutionary concept, product, or project that deserves the world's attention? Submit your entries today and be part of the journey. See you in Shenzhen.
All right. Thank you so much. So from here, I think we have a short, so people want to submit can obviously go to the website, luxfuturum.com. Everything is in there, even past submissions. But I think since Katja can't be here, we have a small video from her that will explain a little bit of what she's been up to. If we can play the video from Katja.
Yep.
And social.
Oops.
I'm delighted to be here with you virtually. So
Can't hear anything, Ingmar.
Why not?
oh, yes. Criteria of the program before.
Sorry, guys. It doesn't want to play from the beginning for some reason.
You want to start again?
Yeah.
It worked earlier when we checked it.
All right, let me try again. Sorry, guys.
Technology always throws up its bad side when you don't want it.
The audio is not coming through.
I'm delighted to be here with you virtually. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to my previous co-founders for all the explanations, and would like to bring you now to the following part of today's event, which is early submissions, early exposure. So yes, Martin already mentioned that early submissions mean early exposure, and of course, all submissions will first go through the official review process and comply with the structure and the criteria of the program before being publicly available on our website and promotion overall. But one of the exciting opportunities of Lux Futurum is that we begin spotlighting selected entries even before the final event takes place, but also even before the deadline of the submissions. So the earlier you submit, the earlier your ideas, concepts, products, and projects can start gaining visibility throughout our international platforms and the community channels. The submission deadline, as you can see here, but also on our website, is set for the 31st of July. And there's still a lot of time ahead, but we truly encourage everyone to not leave this last minute. And as many of you know, Lux Futurum is a collaboration between the virtual lighting design community and our incredible partners and team in China, the Zhurong team. And together, our mission is really to push forward future-thinking ideas within lighting design, technology, art, and innovation. And Going now to the next slide, I would like to explain what happens if your project or concept or product is selected. This year, the Lux Futurum Forum will take place in Shenzhen in China on the 23rd of October, 2026. And we're extremely excited about what is currently being prepared behind the scenes. We cannot share the details, but if you are selected as one of the finalists and winners, you will receive your official notification approximately 5 weeks before the live event, giving you enough time to prepare for the experience ahead. And honestly, it is much more than simply an award ceremony. Having been there 2 times now, getting ready for the 3rd one, it's incredible exposure within a new part of this world as well. If you are coming from the West, and also if you're coming from the East, is absolutely fantastic to connect with the global community as well. So you'll be invited to join us live in Shenzhen, together with global thought leaders, supporters, sponsors, designers, innovators, creatives, and industry professionals. And your travel and participation expenses are covered by the organization team. And throughout the event, there will be presentations and networking activities, interviews, discussions, lots of things. And if you're following us on social media, you might have seen already all the different moments before the conference, during the conference, and after the conference. And yes, it's a great opportunity to truly connect with the international community. And as you can see here, you can get a little bit of the vibe overall and the meaningful exchanges. But we're really excited to continue building this global platform together, and we would like to invite you to submit in order to have the chance to be part of it. Now, another very important aspect of Lux Futurum is the visibility and the long-term promotion that we provide to the selected participants and winners. Our responsibility does not stop once the awards are announced live. In many ways, this is only the beginning of the journey together. And through both online and in-person interviews, project features, curated storytelling, social media campaigns, and international communications, we actively support you in sharing the narrative behind your project, the work behind the scenes, and overall everything that you would like to communicate with a wider audience. And really, we help communicate not only the final visual outcome, but also the thinking process, the innovation, the future vision behind its idea. And this has become one of the most beautiful aspects of the platform, this recognition that we're talking about. Over the past years, we have continued building an international archive of conversations, interviews, presentations, and inspirational stories from previous winners, judges, and keynote speakers. And you can already find many of these interviews and highlights through the VLD.Community platforms and our YouTube channel, including short presentations, clips, behind the scenes, moments, and insightful discussions from previous editions. And with that opportunity, I would like to obviously invite you all to follow us on social media in case you are not connected. On Instagram, we are sharing lots of content, stories. We are engaging with everyone involved on LinkedIn and on Facebook platform. And of course, in case you're not part of the virtual lighting design community as a member, this is definitely the right time to do so, because this is where we are actually documenting everything. You're going to be able to find lots of different things. Ingmar will also mention about it. But most importantly, access to the platform is free. All you need to do is to apply and join and put your details. And you can find it and access it, in case you don't know, by going to VLD.Community. It's going to take you to our website. And from there, you're going to follow the instructions to join the community itself, which is a growing international network that we're very, very proud of. Now, moving to the next and last slide, I would like to officially introduce you to the 2 keynote speakers that they are already confirmed for this year's Lux Futurum Forum. First, we are delighted to welcome Rogier van der Heijden, who is also joining today's session and will participate later in our Q&A discussion. And secondly, we are incredibly excited to welcome Bing Zhu as our second keynote speaker for this year's event. And both speakers represent visionary and future-forward approaches to design, creativity, innovation, special experience, and we truly cannot wait to welcome them together with you to Shenzhen this October. And with that, I would really like to encourage you for one last time from my side to submit your bold ideas, inspiring concepts, innovative products, visionary projects, and future-thinking work. This platform was created to celebrate imagination, experimentation, collaboration, and we genuinely look forward to discovering your ideas and hopefully celebrating together with many of you live in Shenzhen in just a few months. Thank you so much, everyone, and I would like to pass it now to the next presenter.
Thank you, Katja. Ingmar, maybe you can quickly give a little insight on the part that Katja mentioned, that we'll be doing interviews and there will be some podcasts and where that goes, because that's also an important part. Both you and Katja are very involved in creating content. So maybe I'll leave you a few minutes to explain that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just highlight a little bit about our community platform, which is really just the digital heart of where we all come together. And we've come a long way since we started in our COVID days, from being virtual to also being involved in curating actual programs, like we were doing with Lux Futurum, and also as we have done in Frankfurt not that long ago. Let's see if I can share my screen here. So those of you who are not aware, here we go. So our community platform is really the heart of where everything comes together. Katja mentioned a bit where you can find it. So it's members.VLD.Community, which brings you basically here to our community. We've got our members coming together in our community hub, where we can connect. One of the big things is being able to connect virtually when we're not able to connect in person at events. We can share our triumphs, our projects, let's see if this is sharing, anything that we can share with our community members that they can access. In the early days, we actually had seasons where we covered various topics within the lighting industry. So we started with the art of lighting design, business of lighting design, future of lighting design. So all these curated videos, which can be accessed right here on the community platform. As Katja mentioned as well, becoming a member of the platform is completely free, so that can be accessed as well. And on top of that, so when we are at live events, we also have that available as like we're doing interviews and that at various events. And we also curate a podcast, which is accessible on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to, on Apple and Spotify. So all our content is also shared on there. So there's content you can consume, whether that is listening or watching. So it's all there. And yeah, become a member and check it out.
Thanks. Thanks, Ingmar. So creating content and sharing is quite important. So that's where Katja and Ingmar are really important also during the events and in the run-up to the events. Now, we have two wonderful judges with us today, Gary and Linus, and both of them have given us their time and will give a little insight on how they think or what they think about lighting in the future. So, Gary, I will give you the floor first, and after that, Linus, I think you have roughly about 5 minutes or something. But if you are in the flow of things, just go on and use it. So, up to you, Gary.
No problem at all. Thanks, Martin. I'm just going to share my screen. As Martin said, I'm one of the judges, very proud and very excited to be one of the judges on this year's Lux Futurum panel. There's an esteemed group around us with decades of experience, so I'm very excited as to quite what that will encompass when we get to see some of the devices and the proposals that are there. But I think when it comes to what we're looking for as part of the judges and just reflecting on what we believe embodies future thinking ideas, Lux Futurum, that's what we are, it's what the platform represents, and it really is light for the future. And this is precisely what we're looking for. That doesn't mean it can't be an existing component or something that doesn't already exist, but maybe it's a new take on it or a novel take on it. I think light and design and light and designers have historically been a mix of art and physics and bringing those two components together. But what does that mean for light and design in the future? Because the industry is changing, and frankly, we are now expected to encompass biology, psychology, ecology, sustainability, physiology. So what is a modern lighting designer? We are someone arguably that now bridges art and science, but crucially for me, it's blending it with the spectrum of human experience whilst balancing potential harm with the planet. And it's that human experience that I really want to kind of make a priority when I'm looking at the submissions and the products and the ideas that are coming forwards, because there is a tendency to allow AI to be the driver for something futuristic or technologically advanced, and that's great. Absolutely leverage it and use it to support you where it's appropriate. But without a human component, that isn't necessarily something that's going to catch my eye. And so what's going to stand out for me is something much more centered and something grounded on that right-hand side of the screen, which is the human consideration. How does it help us? How does it benefit us? What does it offer from a human point of view? And I think it can be easy to forget, and we need to remind ourselves on this, not just on this platform, but in our everyday lives. Every artificial light source we put out in the world, we do so for humans, whether it is kind of very functional, safety and security, or whether it is something much more immersive, experiential and aesthetic. Every light source we offer up is for humans. The rest of the natural world gets on absolutely fine without artificial light, and we do well to remember that. So when it comes to putting artificial light out into the world, whether it is very functional or whether it is very aesthetic or somewhere on that spectrum in between, what is that proposal honing towards? What is it doing? Is it serving a purpose? Is it meeting a need? Is it offering a solution? And those nuances are what personally I'm going to be looking for as part of the jury panel. And I think future thinking has the tendency to sometimes feel a little bit dystopian if you think about those futuristic films set decades and centuries in the future. But all the more reason we should be prioritizing ourselves as humans. You know, as a species, we're storytellers at heart. We gathered around heat sources, light sources, and told stories and communicated. So that's what your idea needs to be. Your idea needs a narrative. It's what humans crave. It's what we're grounded in seeking out when it comes to innovation and ideas. And that's going to be a huge part of the appeal. But balance with that story, innovation is the other big factor. Okay, we all recognize this, the kind of humble incandescent light bulb. But driving that innovation, this came from somewhere and it's turned into something else. So show us something we haven't seen before, or show us a new approach to something we have seen. Okay, future thinking is exciting, but it doesn't have to be all consuming. It doesn't have to be detrimental to the planet. You know, can you take an idea that's been unchallenged or undisputed for many years and use it to drive something else? or could it be a current product with a new take on it, a new slant, which restores and provides as much as it takes in terms of energy? And I think it's that balance between the two, that sustainable led desire to do something new, to do something innovative, is incredibly important for us. And I think when it comes to what's a successful proposal look like, whether it is a concept, a product, or a project, there's a lot of value in going back and looking at the previous shortlist to give you a real flavor of what this is about. And we've seen a few of these earlier, but the idea that I encourage you to look at this, a range of ideas, it's not to copy, certainly not, but be inspired by them. Certainly there's a lot of great content, but hint at the successful things that have pushed boundaries, have pushed innovation, but haven't forgotten that human component. It's no accident that the shortlisted ideas really hero these attributes. And you can see how many of them, or all of them, in fact, really embody these qualities, pushing boundaries without leaving that human component behind. There is no standalone need or an independent solution that just sits in isolation. It's always solving a problem or pushing boundaries or offering something that humans can benefit from and would add value to the schemes. And a lot of these standout qualities are really lighting that responds. It responds to people, lighting that has souls, lighting at a human scale that is interwoven with our lives, healthy, effective solutions with humans at the heart of it. And I think as much as future thinking and innovation can push some sort of conjure up these images of very lovely CGIs and visuals, I don't want to see your proposal lacking that human component, because that proves its viability, that proves its value, and that's really where we're going to see successful submissions coming through. And we've already heard that there's this wonderful array of judges on the panel, but what's fantastic about us, particularly this year more than ever, is the variety of background, experience and interest that we all bring. And certainly there are core principles that we've heard that Lux Futurum represents that all the submissions will be looking for and assessing them against. There's no doubt about that. But my emphasis comes in something that's really, really meaningful. Okay, I want to see curiosity of the human experience. I want to see design with intent, a beautiful narrative that means something, that is driven through innovation, or perhaps even a fresh approach to an existing product or an existing problem that isn't just following trends. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't necessarily know what that might look like. That is the challenge, but that is the beauty of this platform, this opportunity where you've had a little seed planted in your mind, you can develop the idea and communicate it outwards. But what I do know, of all the things that I don't know about it, the one thing I do know is that those successful proposals will be something that surprises me. So drive innovation, drive exciting futuristic concepts, but don't forget the human component. That would be my advice to you. Thank you very much. And I'll now hand over to Linus, one of the other esteemed judges, for a little insight from his point of view as well.
You're mute. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Gary. Light has been around for a very long time. And it wouldn't be incorrect to say that it is because of light that we have life. And it would again not be incorrect to say that it is not just life for humans who have become de facto custodians of the planet, but light for life of things, human and otherwise. And I think with that understanding of the past, it is important to look at the way our lives have changed because of light and because of the ability to have an artificial source of light once our natural source of light comes down, because that is the way we choose to live, work, interact, and be. In the present, this has sort of been manifest in a number of different fields, some of which I would like to encourage people to look at from the point of view of how this can be that light and human experience extending to the global requirement for light after natural light. Bioresponsiveness, light tuned to biology, luminous architecture, urban ecosystems, experiential, our whole experience of light in our interactions. And then finally, what does the role of sustainability actually mean in our product development? In each of these, we're going to be looking at existing understanding of various research and what that research has generated to develop new ideas with light, whether it be with circadian science and the understanding of what it means to humans, but also to other plant life, also to other living beings. What does it take to actually use light to improve cognitive performance? We have understood the direct impact. What about the indirect impact? Most often, we tend to take light and well-being together as a natural day-to-day environment. We look at it from the point of view of how it helps each person when they are healthy. Increasingly, we are beginning to also understand the role of light in actual well-being from an adverse situation. Light that actually helps make our healthcare systems even more productive, faster recovery times, and better workplaces. But I would also like to extend that boundary of looking for features that don't just look at human biology, but also at biology as a whole, extending from botany to zoology. The other interesting thing that we are currently already investigating in the lighting world is the wonder that LED has allowed us to use the properties of LEDs, their life, their ability to be integrated, their small format, their size. How can we look at these not just as light sources that are integrated into architecture, but also different materials that can transform, conduct, and percolate light? If we had to change our thinking, would we actually be able to look at light as a material? Our urban environments are changing, and they're changing dramatically. Rate of change is expanding far and fast. But what we really need to do is understand each the response that light brings, the ability to control light in response to various human functions, various human activities. How do we use it with a keen eye on an ecological balance? We're beginning to understand the negative impact of light. How are we able to integrate that into our design? Are we looking at the intelligence that is actually being spoken about both in the human and the artificial segment? And how does this actually tie in various parameters that today can be monitored, starting from things that directly impact us to things that impact us in a more subliminal form? And how do we look at this holistically as an ecosystem, not just a single entity, a single device performing? Increasingly, light is playing a very significant role in our interactions with other humans. And not just in the single parameter of light by itself, creating an illumination, but integrated with other sensory experiences, sound, taste, smell. Light through art is also becoming an interpretive experience. Are we able to extend that knowledge, that emotion, and that ethos, which is making us unique as humans, with a deep dive into the cultural context that light can be capable of bringing into this interpretative art installation mode? And finally, for the products, where in the present, we are already looking at a number of ways that we can make our products more sustainable. look at them from repairable modules, whether they are modular, whether they are upgradable. How can we lower the carbon in its manufacturing process from the cradle to the grave? But are we also looking at disassembly and reuse? How is it that sustainability can be taken from just being a feature to an actual guiding philosophy on light? Right? And the common thread, I believe, when we start talking about the future, moving from the past through the present into the future, is to think about that idea. When light is evolving from being just that technical layer that we have grown to understand more and more, and we are able to then take it into being an intelligent environmental medium, with special emphasis being on integrating it. So that we no longer look at a single-use device, not just light as a source of illumination, but a complete experience going all the way from all the research that is being done with health, with light and emotion and the neurological developments and research, but ecological developments too in terms of sustainability. How are we being able to use light to create identity and improve our human experience? I believe that the future would begin with an idea that is strongly supported by these thoughts and bringing in not just the usage in the present, but an idea for a better future. Let's start thinking about it. Thank you.
So that wraps up the presentations from Gary and Linus. That gives us a bit of an insight of the way they think, and also the input they will have in the judging process. And I have to, quite honestly, I look forward in catching up in a couple of months when we start judging and see how that all works. Now, I would like to bring on the stage Rogier and dive into a number of questions that I have prepared for him. A number of questions I think it will be easy for him to reply. Rogier, we go back a long time. I don't know how many years, but a long time. I started with Philips in 1979, and you probably around a bit later, but not much later. So we have somehow similar roots from a long time ago. You've been very vocal in many ways. I follow you on social media, and I see you're a very active person commenting on the state of lighting design, and you also have a very, I think, distinctive thought about how the future looks like. So if I hop on what Linus was saying, light is definitely part of architecture. It's not just an add-on. And you have always approached light as something that is much deeper than just a technical layer or fixture that we add up in the end. So you speak about light as part of architecture itself. So if we look ahead with smart materials, responsive surfaces, digital layers, and perhaps also the biological light that was mentioned, do you think that the boundary between lighting architecture and materials is starting to disappear? How do you see that future developing?
Well, thank you for that question. First of all, thanks everyone who tuned into this live stream to be with us today. Thank you, Martin, for the introduction. Indeed, it's been a long way until here. I don't have a technical background. That's why I design light the way I do. Your question about architecture and light and whether the boundary between that is blurring, I think there was never that boundary as such, but there was, of course, a boundary in the way we organize ourselves around the project. We have specialist engineers or lighting people who take care of the light, and we have architects who take care of the architecture, right? So, in my view, I try in my everyday reality to change that. I think making the architect or inviting the architect to become a co-creator of the light is very intuitive, very logical. And it turns out to be very doable. And I think in the future, because I mean, this is about the future, I think in the future that will be much more common. I have been working for decades with architects in 3, 4, 5 days workshops, and we hammer out the lighting concept, you know. This is becoming, I think, more and more common, also because we have the tools to communicate with each other. I mean, for me, that happens through physical models and test setups, and it sounds like old school maybe, but I think it's very contemporary because it's extremely intuitive to respond to it. But we have many online tools and new software apps on your phone that can help you to quantify light, to assess light, to do all sorts of things that make it easier to communicate what we are doing. And I think that's part of our near future, that it's becoming much more of an intertwined process. And just on the back of that, we will discover what everybody is saying here, what Linus just mentioned, what you just mentioned, that light is matter, that is a kind of a material in the building. I mean, that sounds abstract until you really experience it, until you notice that a polar distribution diagram is not telling you what we see, right? It might be telling you in what direction the light is going, but only when we add the glass and the textures and the floor and the ceiling, we start to understand where the light goes. I think that awareness is also something that will be very common in the near future.
I think you also have said that we need to think about darkness. And today, with our cities getting brighter, our lives getting more connected, and we seem to be losing a sort of a natural rhythm between light and dark. How is the future of lighting design developing in that respect? And how can we bring back, like, say, meaningful darkness, not as an absence, but more as something valuable for people, nature, city? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, meaningful darkness is a really nice way to say it. Thank you for bringing it up that way. Because when we think of designing the darkness, it's often about the dark sky. It's about I don't know, a better reflector in a light post or something like that, right? And surely that is important. But the real function of darkness in architecture is that it helps us to shape the architecture. If you think of the lecture that once upon a time Louis Kahn did in Switzerland, he really stated there that it's the shadows that make the building. And I even though I won't be able to explain here in 10 seconds what that means, I really feel that that is right. A texture doesn't exist without shade. A lineup of columns has no depth without its shadows. So I think instead of planning light as a uniform layer over a space, we could at least consider that darkness is also a qualitative factor, something that helps us to read the space, to understand how we relate to that space as people.
That's true. That's true. Now, I want to bring in what is on everybody's mind, and it's AI in relation to the human designer. I know you have very strong opinions about that. So we are now entering the time where AI can help us doing all kinds of things, calculate, visualize, and even generate lighting ideas nearly instantly. But lighting is not just about producing images or numbers. It's about atmosphere, it's about emotion, it's about memory, it's about human experience. So where do you see the AI development going, and how does it gonna affect our workflow process? Because it's happening, we can't deny it, but at the same time, we still have our human skills that we should not forget, that are really important. And I'm looking at it for myself. I feel that the new generation might lose that context of human skills, field experience, and things like that. So how can it become a creative partner, and how can we use AI in maybe storytelling or a way that we still keep the human soul as part of lighting design?
Yeah, I think I will be coming to Shenzhen to find some answers, hopefully, you know, because I also don't really know. And I think it's also good to struggle with it, because you know, only when you are persistently learning something until you understand it, you really learn something, right? I mean, I think that is also one of the aspects of AI where I am a little bit critical. The fact that it all happens so easily and so quickly makes it really hard to learn from it as a designer. If you want to learn to play the piano, it takes you years before you master it, right? It's the same with lighting design, with everything. And AI is almost the total opposite of that. It gives you instantly answers, whereas actually true design is based on asking questions, not to provide answers right away. That is where we differ. But on the other hand, there are many different ways to do lighting design. And who am I to judge one or the other? If lighting design means in your practice that it's the planning of uniformity, of low glare, of contrast ratios, of all these things that are important in certain projects, then my guess is that AI can truly help you to become more efficient, more streamlined, to help your clients maybe faster or cheaper, and maybe even better than you can do. I don't know. But if your goal is more to create an authored lighting design where it's not only the result, the deliverable that matters, but also the outcome later on, which is like how people feel in that space, or perhaps even how you were together when you created everything. There, I think AI is not so helpful as, you know, in some other disciplines maybe. So in my practice, I personally do not see a role for it, other than maybe doing some statistical research or things that you did before in Google, you know, and that are now just easier. So that's a very like low-level way of using AI. The more sophisticated applications of AI, or maybe even developing apps, I mean, also in the lighting design practice, I'm sure there are many apps being developed that are based on AI agents and stuff like that. I think it depends on the way you want to live our profession and the way you want to deliver, whether that is going to be useful for you or not. So I can only recommend all lighting designers to look at it critically and see what works in my practice. Or is there any indicator that I should tweak my practice a little bit? I mean, certainly the arrival of AI has made me think about my practice too, quite a bit. And as a conclusion, I think, AI doesn't care as much about the outcome as I do. So I will keep doing it myself.
I'm sure we'll continue this discussion in Shenzhen, because it's something that evolves so quickly. And you and I are from the older generation. We started without computers at all, you know.
Absolutely.
So having this suddenly is like a tsunami that is not easy.
Martin, the fact that you can, I mean, it's not that I never calculate anything, but the fact that you can do a lighting calculation just by heart, you know, just on a piece of paper and come to a result that is the same as Dialux. I think it's not only swift and easy, and it even may have a certain cool factor. It actually means that you really understand what you're doing. So I think there is an advantage to that. And once again, it depends on how you want to see your practice and your profession. It's not a complete answer, but I don't think the complete answer is there. We will find it in Shenzhen, I think. So do come, everybody, and join us.
I've got some more questions for you. I wanted to ask also about some of the essence of the whole Lux Futurum is what we call East meets West, where you know the Chinese creativity and innovation meets maybe the quality standards from the West. So Lux Futurum is very much about connecting East and West, and not only geographically, but also in the way that we think about light, space, atmosphere, and culture. So you have worked across many different regions and cultural contexts. From your experience, how do you see that East and West lighting philosophies influencing each other in the future? Are we moving towards a richer global language? Is there? Just tell me what your thoughts are about East and West mixing with each other.
No, first of all, I hope that we keep also some regional light culture, you know, and keep it alive and cultivate it. It's almost like a dialect, you know. Everybody in the world speaks English, but you also have your own language, which is part of your identity. And the way we look at light is equally diverse across the world, around the world. So in Asia, there is already a philosophical difference in the perception of light and what it means to us compared to how we see it in the Western world. And maybe partly even more awareness of the power of it. Think of Japanese aesthetics, or it's a bit cliche, but I think it's very true. Yes, indeed. I worked a lot in China. I have completed many projects there, collaborated with Chinese, did the factory inspections for Philips, all these sort of things. I think we are both very creative. I don't think that you mentioned quality standards. I think they're equally high in China as they are in Western Europe, maybe sometimes even higher. Where I believe there is a difference is in the way we innovate. I think we are more process-driven in Western Europe and also in North America. We are more considering it step by step, assessing the risks, maybe mitigating those risks also as much as we can. Whereas actually, together with my Chinese friends, I can make really big steps very fast, right? Sometimes we maybe knock it up a little bit, but in the end, we have a beautiful working product, which is great. And we often could cut the timeline a little bit. And that is, of course, not only because of the availability of resources, it's also an attitude. And I think that's where the culture is different. The innovation culture, the way we consider innovation as integral to design, it's quite different, I think. I think that also explains why some Western companies really are challenged to keep up, you know. They're just not agile enough at the moment. Some others are doing really, really well, but the ones that actually do the best are the ones that collaborate with their Asian partners, not only seeing them as production houses, as manufacturers, but really going through product development together.
Okay.
Yeah.
My final question is about educating the new generation, the next generation. I think you and I have some sort of a responsibility as we are regarded as being the older generation to pass on our knowledge and expertise. And lighting is often taught quite technically through standards and calculations and compliance, but it's also about the real experience of light, things that the field experience, the things that you do with your hands. And so how do we do that? How do we communicate? How do we pass that on to the new generation? What do you think we need to do for the future to make sure that the legacy continues and we keep having very, skillful lighting designers with or without AI?
Yeah, I mean, the legacy continues. It's very nice that you bring up education. Thank you. I mean, that's an incredibly important part of what we do, I think. It's really nice to see that there are now master degree curricula and things like that. I mean, when I wanted to study light, there was nothing. I mean, so yeah, I mean, you could study maybe photography or something like that, right? And it was maybe the closest match. But that's all very different now, and there's a whole wide choice. But still, I think you are right that the education is often focused on the quantifiable technical aspects of light and creating it, and not so much on the perception and judgmental part of design. I mean, as designers, we are first of all not democratic, and secondly, we are judgmental. That is just how it is. Otherwise, you don't change anything. And I, like myself, I host a masterclass of 10 days in Spain in July. And what we do in the morning is theoretical. We have a discourse. We sometimes add some technical knowledge, but we mostly also discuss and debate. And in the afternoon, about 15 participants, they work on their own crafted physical models of shaping light, and in the end they present it to each other and they bring home a wonderful project for their portfolio. I mean, it's just amazing what they fix in just 10 days. It's unbelievable. So I think there are different ways of educating, and I believe that indeed the skills-based education is an important one. Next to, it's not going to replace the technical foundational layer, of course. So I'm hoping that an engineering school or an art academy or something will actually pick this up and maybe indeed make the curriculum a little bit richer in that sense. It's important.
It is, absolutely. Rogier, thank you so much. I'll have to keep it with this, otherwise I know we could go on for hours, but I think in view of time, we'll keep it to this, and we will get more from you when you do your keynote in Shenzhen later this year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
If we can bring everybody back on the screen, I think we will go to some Q&A if there are any from our listeners and whoever is listening in. I'm not sure if there are any questions. I'm not able to see if there are any. I think that maybe through the chat or through LinkedIn or something, there might be some questions. Ingmar or anybody, can you see if there are any questions? If not, I think we will just wrap it up. I think it was really good to get insights from our judges and from Rogier. It sort of sets the tone of what we can expect in Shenzhen. I'm really looking forward to that, and there's a lot there that we have to unpack over the coming months, not only from the entries that hopefully are going to be another level up from what we had last year, but also on how we will tackle education, how we will tackle the future in terms of integration of smart AI in workflows and how that will affect. I find myself really now, I mean, some of you may know today is my last active day. I'm officially retiring today. So Gary, you are my, as a colleague, it's the last day. But it's for me a shift in focus, because now I can really focus on the educational part and sharing knowledge and all that, which I think is really important. And a lot of us, like Linus and Gary, I think both of you and here also in Armady, we are very much about sharing knowledge and helping promote our industry to higher levels. So I'm really looking forward to that and see how we can contribute. Maybe I'll just do the round. If anybody still wants to say something, maybe I'll start with Armady and then Rogier, Ingmar, Gary, Linus. Anything you guys want to say, and then we round up by this session.
Looking forward to the entries this year. They've only gotten better every year.
Yeah. Rogier, any parting words?
Well, to everybody who is listening, do submit your work. It's really worth it. There's some great judges who will take a look at it. Even if you happen not to win, there's still some very experienced people seeing your work. That's important. And if you can make it, do come to Shenzhen.
Yes. By the way, even the shortlist that don't make it to Shenzhen, I think we do promote them through our social media before. So it's not only the very short list that makes it to Shenzhen, but even before that, we have a greater short list. They will certainly be promoted, and hopefully people will enjoy that as well. Ingmar, anything from your side?
I was just checking if there was any questions coming through, but I think we've done a pretty good job answering everyone's questions if there isn't anything. So I'm looking forward to touching base with everybody in Shenzhen. It's going to be really exciting to see everyone's work there and to see what everyone's coming up with. So that's it from me.
Thanks. Gary?
Really, just to echo everybody's sentiments, I think the ethos of what's been put together here and what everybody's sort of communicates on the platform is very exciting, and very much looking forward to everybody's submissions.
Thank you. Linus, some wise words from India.
I'm just really excited, and all I can say is echo that thought that there is no such thing as a bad idea. If you have an idea that you believe in, it's a good idea. Please submit.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to receiving it. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you very much, everyone, for contributions and for your thoughts and thoughts for the future. We look forward to a great event. We look forward to a lot of submissions that will hopefully stimulate and motivate our community. So thank you very much, and till Shenzhen. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ingmar, you can, so wait, don't